The ticking of the clock does not measure time. That tick is the rhythm of a hammer driving cold nails into your coffin. Every passing second, every rising heartbeat. This is the cruelty of the life-snatching machine. The drifter hears the clock and believes that tomorrow still exists. The architect hears the clock and understands the inevitability of death. You are being lulled to sleep by an ancient curse. A curse named the perfect timing. This is not a strategy. This is how you inject poison into your soul every single day. A drop of procrastination's venom, a dose of confusion's drug. You believe patience is gold. You believe you must gather enough pieces, enough skills, enough money, and enough confidence before you rise to act. A cruel lie, a wretched optical illusion. Perpetual preparation is the grave that buries emperors before they are even crowned. No preparation is ever enough before the sacred devastation of time. This world is forever divided into two absolute poles. On one side are the slave sheep, obediently lining up waiting for a green signal that never turns on. On the other side are the true masters, those who manually crush the doors that refuse to open and draft the blueprint for their own destiny. You do not wait, you act, you do not hope. You decree the law, you do not beg for an opportunity. You command reality to bend to your will. Look deep into the darkness of your mind. What dwells there? Great ideas, colossal ambitions, radiant crowns. But smell them closely. They are reeking, they are rotting and decomposing day by day. A thought fetus that is never born becomes a malignant tumor that kills the host. To harbor a great idea and never execute it is the most brutal crime against your own legacy. Your peers are stepping over your corpse. They are not smarter. They are not more perfect. They simply refused paralysis. They forged fortresses from broken bricks. Meanwhile, the paralyzed dreamer still sits on the rotting chair of safety. Envious eyes tear at the soul while witnessing mediocre men ascend to the summit. They hold the key to movement. They create friction. They establish a ruthless vibration that shreds stagnation. The silence of the waiter is not sacred stillness. It is the piercing noise of cowardice. Waiting for the perfect moment is a betrayal of the universe's primal vibration. The universe only responds to commands uttered through action. Hesitation emits a weak frequency that attracts the garbage of failure. It is time to demolish this infantile belief. Bury the old self. Burn every excuse. Procrastination is a crime. Action is the only sacred religion. There is no tomorrow. There is only this moment, the single convergence point of infinite power where all thrones are forged. 3 o'clock in the morning, eyes wide open in the cold darkness. Your heart beats in a chaotic rhythm, sounding alarms. The sweat on your forehead is not from the room's temperature. It is the bleeding of a soul in captivity. Anxiety suffocates your chest. You lie there, motionless, staring at the empty ceiling. The darkness around you is not silent. It screams, the screams of slaughtered potential. Ideas never spoken are turning into demons clawing at your heart. This suffocation is not a pathology. This is the sacred judgment of the unconscious. This is the brutal punishment for the one who denies their mission. The paralysis of the body at midnight is the mirror of a life in chains. You wear a sophisticated mask, the perfect persona of a cautious man, a calm man waiting for his chance. You flaunt your waiting as a badge of patience, a lowly disguise, a rotting screen hiding the terror within. Perfection is not a grand standard. Perfection is the wretched prison of the weak. Tear down that rotting mask. Behind that shimmering persona lies a massive angry shadow. The shadow contains the most primal creative instinct. The shadow growls for power. The shadow thirsts for dominance, but you deny it. You cage that sacred beast in the cell of procrastination. You starve it with pathetic excuses. When the shadow is not released to build the grand blueprint, it turns back to destroy the host. The anxiety that bites every night is the claw of the shadow tearing through the lying veil. The drifter lets the shadow consume their life force. The master learns to merge with the shadow to forge ultimate authority. Look out there. Mediocre men are constantly moving forward. They are crude. They are full of flaws. They stumble. But they are shifting. They release the magic of action. Their grand friction creates a frequency that rips through space. Meanwhile, your sophisticated brain is decomposing in the dead zone of safety. Intellect without action is a tumor. Willpower not forged in fire is filthy mud. Thousands of hours of hollow planning bring not a single drop of power. Every night you wake is a warning. The universe is knocking. The universe has no mercy. It only has law. He who denies the law will be crushed into dust. Accept the shadow. Smash the perfect mask. Embrace the chaos of brutal action. It is not a choice. It is the only command for survival. The comfort zone does not protect. The comfort zone imprisons. The comfort zone decays. Stagnation is eroding every cell of thought. Look at the fake light out there. The drifters gnaw on the scraps of reality. They live in the noise of the crowd. They worship the chains of bloodline. They believe in a destiny already written. The architects reject that weakness. They deny mediocrity. They stand in sacred stillness. They understand the mystical energy of life. They draft a ruthless blueprint to smash every limit. The paralyzed dreamer continues to lull himself. Rationalization is a sweet poison. Persuading yourself that you will be readier tomorrow is the fatal blade at the throat of your legacy. Procrastination is how you poison your own infinite potential every day. Chained bloodlines drag man down into the mud of patchwork living. A fortress legacy demands the bloody sacrifice of the old ego. The shadow is not the enemy. The shadow is the ancient source containing ultimate authority. By denying the shadow, half of your grand power is buried in rotting darkness. By embracing the shadow, man rises to become the architect of destiny. The fakery of the persona mask must be burned. The image of the weak, pious man must be destroyed. The belief in a perfect moment must be slaughtered forever. Perfect timing is a lowly optical illusion. Waiting is the behavior of a slave. The master does not wait for permission. The master issues a decree. The slave kneels before the flow of time. The master bends time to his dominant will. Supreme authority belongs to those who dare to walk through the unformed darkness. They emit an unparalleled frequency. They establish a vibration that shatters every obstacle. The inevitability of the universe is ruthless movement. Any entity that refuses to merge into that flow will be ground into dregs. An elite intellect is not born from passive reflection. An elite intellect is forged through the fiery friction of actual action. Do not whine about injustice. Do not blame the cruelty of the clock. You do not lack resources. You lack ruthlessness toward your own cowardice. The throne is not for the one standing with folded hands in the hall. The throne must be seized by the courage of a sovereign. The crown does not drop onto the head of the timid. The crown must be worn with ultimate self-pride. An empire is not built with pathetic prayers. An empire is forged with cold decisions. Smash procrastination. Create a new reality. The polarization is clear. Either be burned by time or rise to be the controller of time. You do not hope. You know. You do not beg. You command. Power is never granted. It must be usurped this very moment. The law has no tolerance. The law has no pity. The eternal law of the universe obeys only one command: action. Napoleon Hill decoded this brutal truth nearly a century ago. He called it the ultimate law of success. Carl Jung peered into the abyss of the soul and recognized the transformation of the false into the true. The mind is a primal fire. If you do not use it to forge a throne, it will incinerate itself. Look at the titans of history. Look at Henry Ford. Look at John D. Rockefeller. They did not carry divine blood. They were not born in a perfect time. They were born in chaos. They were born in the mud of adversity. But they rejected the chained bloodline. They drafted the blueprint of a fortress legacy. Ford did not wait for the world to understand the internal combustion engine. Rockefeller did not wait for permission to monopolize oil. They smashed every obstacle. They buried the crowd's doubt. The drifter looks at the titans and excuses them with luck. The slave blames circumstances to protect a decomposing, weak ego. The true master understands that luck is an illusion. Power is the result of inevitability. The master of success manipulates the frequency of reality. They emit a ruthless vibration that strangles all opposition. They forge an empire from the sacred silence within, ignoring the deafening noise of the crowd outside. Rockefeller once faced the collapse of the entire economy. He did not shrink. He did not run. He stood firm like a sovereign issuing a decree. His authority did not come from money. It came from a deep understanding of the darkness and the mystical energy of dominance. Great men do not wait for ideal conditions. They rape ideal conditions into existence. They kill hesitation. They do not hope for a bright tomorrow. They know that tomorrow is created by the bloody hands of today. Perfect timing is the shimmering poison pill the crowd hungers to swallow. The titans spit on that pill. They built empires on the very imperfection of the world. Anyone who touches this vibration is instantly transformed. The supreme law has been established. The choice is before your eyes. Continue to breathe the rotting air of patchwork living, or rise to don the robes of the ruler. The crown is waiting, but it has weight. It demands you slaughter your weakness. You cannot bring a slave soul onto the throne. You must kill the paralyzed dreamer this very moment. Reality is not merciful to the weak. Reality only bends to authority. Power does not smile at cowardice. Power demands a bloody sacrifice. Carl Jung declared the primal power of the unconscious. When a man dares to face and assimilate his mystical shadow, he releases a brutal creative energy. Napoleon Hill called this awakening the authority of the mastermind. A combination of absolute vibrational frequency. Titans like Ford or Rockefeller did not just act violently on the physical surface. They manipulated the core of reality. They bent the flow of time. They issued an invisible decree forcing the universe to surrender. The drifter looks at the result and calls it a miracle. The architect looks at the blueprint and calls it inevitability. This binary antithesis exists eternally to divide humanity. Slaves are always immersed in the noise of excuses. Masters always reign in the silence of supreme authority. They do not pray. They banish the law. They do not wait for an opportunity. They force the opportunity to manifest. It is time to look directly at your own decay. You are standing on the edge of a soul's disintegration. You are letting the poison of hesitation seep into every vein. The chained bloodline of weak generations is dragging you down into the swamp of safety. You were taught to be obedient. You were taught to timidly wait for an illusory sacred moment, a pathetic deception. You were not born to be a silent sheep in the slaughterhouse of time. You were born to seize the throne. You were born to be a grand architect shaping destiny, but you choose decomposition. You refuse the crown. You are manually burying your own fortress legacy. Every limit before you is a lowly illusion. Every second of further waiting is a capital crime. It is time to incinerate this petty mindset. Completely destroy the old man. An empire is never built on the foundation of fear. The external reality is but a ghost reflecting the inner vibration. When the inner vibration changes, physical reality is forced to bend and restructure. That is an absolute law. You do not hope for reality to change. You command it to change. You draft a ruthless blueprint for the consciousness. You forge an unbreakable will. Your silence now is no longer the silence of the weak. Your stillness is the ancient stillness of a sovereign preparing to strike and shatter the horizon. The universe does not hear whimpering prayers. The universe only obeys commands forged in blood and iron. Kill the paralyzed dreamer. Bury the rotting excuses forever. This moment is not for reflection. This moment is for dominance. Your bloodline is not a destiny. Your bloodline is a chain that must be shattered. Most people are born to be slaves to the timeline of their ancestors. They inherit fear. They inherit hesitation. They inherit the habit of bowing their heads, waiting for permission from the void. But you do not belong to that crowd. You are standing before a brutal identity shift. The paralyzed dreamer within you must be executed. Right now, no mercy, no farewells. Look into the mirror of consciousness. The one standing there, the one always saying it's not time yet, is the greatest enemy of the fortress legacy you promised to build. He is a parasite eating the lifetime of a king. It is time to strip the control from his hands. You are no longer one standing on the sidelines observing reality. You are reality. You are no longer one waiting for the right frequency. You are the source of that frequency. Feel the change in the molecular structure of your will. A new identity is being forged from fire and iron, the identity of the controller of time. The controller does not look at the clock to know when to start. He starts to make the clock serve him. Neville Goddard taught that reality is not something that happens to you. It is something that comes from you. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you are a waiter, the universe will grant you eternal waiting. If you are a sovereign, the universe will kneel and offer up kingdoms. A fortress legacy is not built with bricks. It is built with cold-blooded determination. You must despise lowly safety. You must worship the danger of action. You do not prepare to be a titan. You declare yourself a titan, and then reality will rearrange itself to match that declaration. That is the decree of the spirit. That is the power to bend reality. Your vibration right now must be the vibration of authority. Shed the old skin of anxiety. Burn the petty ego that always seeks validation. You do not need the world's validation. The world needs your leadership. You do not need money to start. You need a dominant spirit to make money grovel. The binary antithesis between the drifter and the architect has never been clearer. The drifter is butchered by time every day. The architect takes the knife of time and carves his name into history. Which pole do you choose? Do you choose to be ashes or choose to be the fire that incinerates mediocrity? Do not talk about what you will do. Feel the weight of the crown on your head right now. Feel the solidity of the throne beneath you. This is not imagination. This is the recalibration of destiny's structure. You do not hope you are strong. You know you are power. You do not wait for the future. You possess it in this very breath. The old identity is dead. The controller of time has awakened. Pity is an acid that corrodes authority. If you still feel regret for your old cowardly self, you are pouring acid on your own throne. Understand a brutal truth. No transfer of power ever happens peacefully. It is always a coup of the consciousness. The paralyzed dreamer within you will not leave voluntarily. He will scream. He will use the fear of uncertainty to pull you back into the mud of waiting. He will whisper about risks. He will draw scenarios of failure. You must kill him. You must execute that traitor with the sword of absolute decisiveness. Bury him in an unmarked grave. No roses, no tears. Rebirth only truly begins when the ashes of the old ego have cooled. Look at the blueprint of a fortress legacy. It is not built to harmonize with its surroundings. It is built to dominate the landscape. A fortress never apologizes for its proud existence. An empire never asks for the opinion of slaves. Neither should you. Your new identity is a living decree. When you walk into a room, your frequency must be strong enough to restructure the atmosphere. Do not adjust yourself to fit the crowd's frequency. Force the crowd to adjust to your vibration. This is the secret of the Titans. Rockefeller never compromised with reality. He forced reality to kneel at his feet with a determination so cold it was ruthless. His stillness was the stillness of a storm gathering energy. That stillness was more terrifying than any scream. The nature of reality is plasticity. It is like red-hot iron. If you wait for it to cool, you can mold nothing. You must strike the hammer while it is burning. The perfect time is the moment you decide to strike the first blow. Do not look outside for a sign. You are the sign. You do not wait for a perfect opportunity. You are the one who creates perfection out of chaos. Neville Goddard clearly stated, reality is but a shadow of the state of consciousness. If the shadow is not beautiful, do not try to fix the shadow. Fix the object that creates the shadow. That object is your identity. If you still see yourself as someone trying to succeed, you will forever be someone trying. The universe does not respond to trying. The universe responds to possession. Possess the identity of the controller of time right now. Feel the weight of dominance in every breath. Let the vibration of power permeate your very marrow. Your chained bloodline has been severed. You no longer carry the burden of mediocrity from previous generations. You are the starting point of a new dynasty, a dynasty of those who create reality with pure will. The 3 a.m. anxiety has vanished. In its place is a deadly calm. You no longer worry about the future because you are the one writing it. The paralyzed dreamer is dead. The sovereign architect has ascended. Every action of yours from this moment forward carries the nature of a sacred ritual. You do not walk. You are patrolling your territory. You do not work. You are building an empire. You do not hope. You banish laws. The universe is holding its breath, watching the rise of a new titan. Command reality. It is waiting for your orders. The silence of the ruler is not a soulless emptiness. It is the compression of a nuclear explosion about to ignite. The crowd outside always screams about intentions. They brag about plans never executed to find a cheap comfort. They are ghosts drifting in the noise of their own making. You are different. You have stepped through the door of sacred stillness. You no longer need validation from those who have no blueprint for their own lives. The chained bloodline of poverty and stagnation has been cut by the sword of awakening right now. You owe nothing to the past. You are the creditor of the future. Look at the structure of a fortress legacy. It is not built to please the eyes of passers-by. It is built to endure and protect supreme authority against the devastation of time. You are that fortress. Every thought of yours is now an unshakable megalith. Every action is a sturdy wall preventing the invasion of mediocrity. The paralyzed dreamer has been completely incinerated in the furnace of brutal truth. What remains beneath the ashes is the pure gold of pure will. Napoleon Hill spoke of definiteness of purpose as a religion of success. It is not a shallow desire, a fragile hope. It is an obsession so deep that physical reality must crack to allow its appearance. When you declare, "I am," you are not describing an existing state. You are issuing a decree that bends space and time. Neville Goddard taught that there is no one to change but oneself. When you change your identity from waiter to possessor, the entire reflected world around you will shake violently. It must restructure. It must rearrange every molecule to fit your new inner image. This shift does not happen gradually through evolution. It happens in one click of the consciousness, a collapse of the rotting old reality and the immediate rise of a glorious empire. Feel the blood of titans coursing through your veins. It is no longer the blood of fear. It is cold, sharp, and authoritative like steel fresh from the forge. You are no longer ruled by the petty emotions of the crowd. Anxiety, fear, hesitation, these are the filthy remnants of the dead slave you just buried. A king never worries about his kingdom. He governs it with power. An architect does not fear his own blueprint. He executes it with absolute precision. The binary antithesis is now complete in your soul. On one side is the world of noise, disintegration, and rot. On the other side is your world, still, fortified, and eternal. Never look back. There is nothing there but the nameless graves of procrastination. Look straight into the abyss of action and command it to become the launchpad for your crown. You are no longer part of the drifting crowd. You are the epicenter of a storm of power. The old reality has crumbled into dust. A new reality is solidifying beneath the heels of a new master. Now is the time for the final great surgery. Look at your hands. They were not made to hold fleeting things. They were forged to hold the scepter. Your vibration now has reached the critical threshold. You are no longer a biological creature ruled by the fear instinct of man. You have become a power frequency, an entity that bends reality. In the world of drifters, time is a tyrant. It hunts them. It suffocates them. It makes them grow old in regret. But for the architect, time is merely raw material. You do not spend time. You invest authority into it. Terminate the illusion of the future immediately. The future is a trap for cowards who dare not face the ferocity of the present. Every titan the world has ever known, from Ford to Rockefeller, from ancient emperors to modern tech titans, shared one secret. They did not live in tomorrow. They executed their decree this very moment. They did not wait for the permission of circumstances. They forced circumstances to follow their spiritual blueprint. The binary antithesis has become absolute. On one side is the crowd of slaves decomposing in stagnation, muttering about perfect timing. On the other side is you, the controller of time, standing firm on the fortress of determination. You do not hope. Hope is the confession of weakness. You know. This knowing is not logical understanding. It is a divine vibration running down the spine. It is the authority of one who has seen through the darkness and realized that darkness is his servant. Every physical barrier around you is now melting. Money, relationships, opportunities, they are but shadows reflected from your new identity. When your identity is that of an emperor, reality has no choice but to offer up corresponding tributes. Never ask, how? That question belongs to slaves looking for a method. The master only issues the what and the right now. The decree has been signed in the blood of the old ego. The seal of power has been pressed into the subconscious. The universe is bowing before your ruthless silence. Every noisy sound of doubt has been incinerated. Only the heartbeat of a titan remains. One beat, a new world is born. One beat, an old reality is crushed into dust. You are no longer a dreamer. You are the law. You are destiny. You are inevitability. Stand tall, right now. This is not an invitation. This is a command. Thrust your chest forward. Let your chest become a steel shield against every attack of mediocrity. Stretch your spine, turning it into a lightning rod conducting divine energy from the void into this reality. Feel the weight of your feet rooted deep into the earth, like the foundations of an ancient fortress. You do not stand on the ground, you own it. Take a deep breath, swallowing the power of this space, and as you exhale, expel the last remnants of hesitation like toxic smoke. Somatic anchoring has been activated. Your body is now an anchor of supreme power. Every time you stand in this posture, reality must bend. Every time you look straight at your target with this cold gaze, every obstacle must burn. The paralyzed dreamer has been buried 10 feet deep. The sovereign architect has officially been crowned. There is no turning back. There is no forgiveness for any further moment of weakness. Act immediately. Do not think. Thinking is the betrayal of action. Take the first blueprint and execute it with a divine ruthlessness. Whether it is a call, a financial decision, or a daring move, do it with the frequency of a king on a conquest. You do not work to succeed. You act because you already are success. Look at the life-snatching clock one last time. Now its ticking is no longer the sound of nails in a coffin, it is the strike of the divine hammer forging your crown. Time has been tamed by you. It is no longer the enemy, it is your slave. Step out there and execute your sovereignty over the territory of reality. Let the crowd see the deadly calm in your eyes and tremble before the authority they cannot comprehend. Your fortress legacy begins with this brick of action. Your empire is forged from this sacred silence. Remember this image, a titan standing at the peak of time, holding destiny in hand, treading over stagnation. That is you. Present, eternal, unshakable. The prophecy has been spoken. The command has been issued. Reality belongs to you. Take it right now.